Georgia O'Keeffe was an American artist. She started painting when she was a little girl. She was able to take private art classes, and when she was 12, she knew she wanted to be an artist. In time, she developed her own style of art. Today, we will focus on her flowers. She created very large paintings of flowers. She used lots of color and made it look close up. Notice how you do not see the entire flower. She focuses on part of the flower and makes it very large. Today we'll draw a large flower and we will paint it while creating tints with white paint. Let's get ready to draw our close-up of a flower in the style of Georgia O'Keeffe. We have our oil pastels here. I'm going to choose black and I'm going to start with the center of my flower. I'm going to do a little air drawing. I don't want to make it too small because I want to be able to look into the flower. So I'm going to draw a circle. And from that circle, I'm going to do little lines radiating out. These are going to be where my petals are. I don't want to do them too close together. It's going to be hard to get my paintbrush in there. So I'm going to space them out a little bit. Just little dashes. Maybe I'll just do one there. Now we're going to draw the petals. I'm going to start on my dash and I want to go off the paper like Georgia O'Keeffe did. So when I take my line, I'm going to go right off the paper onto my messy mat and then come back in and connect with my dash. Think about your line. Go slow, off the page, turn, come back in to the dash. Next petal, off the page, come back in to the dash. This is going to be an extra wide one. I like to have a variety of petals so they all don't look the same. That helps to turn your paper. Do that. I sometimes have a hard time getting my oil pastel back up on that paper, so I might have to lift it. All right, now, look, now it looks like we have a very big close-up of our flower. We're gonna get ready to paint. You're gonna be using 3 different colors and white with your paintbrush. We are going to paint the inside of our flower one color, and then I'm going to show you how to make a tint. And we make a tint, or we lighten it, by adding white to our paint. So we will do that. Then we're going to work to the petals. The petals are going to be my pink, and if you have a different color, that's no problem. And then the last is going to be my background, which I'm using this turquoise blue. You may just get your flower paints for your first class, and then you'll have to do the background later. We'll see about time. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to pick up a little orange. I'm going to come into the center of my flower. I like to do the edges first. Brush that in. Now I'm going to come over and grab my white and get a tint. When I'm mixing it, it's lightening my orange. I might want a little bit of that orange showing through. And now I'm done. Now I can go ahead and clean my brush off on my messy mat. I'm gonna pick up my pink, do the edges, nice and smooth. I still have a little bit of that orange left over, and that's all right. Now before this dries, I want to get some pink, and I'm going to mix, or some white, and I'm going to mix it with my magenta pink color, and that is going to give me a tint. I'm going to do the same for the next, and I'll still have a little bit of leftover. The more white I add, the lighter it will be. So you might want to leave some of those streaks of highlights to show some texture in your petals. right, now I have all my petals done. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my brush off. And I'm not scrubbing my brush, I'm just going back and forth to get most of that paint off. My next step is to do the background, all this extra white space. So I'm going to go around my flower lines. I don't really need to get the whole thing because I can go ahead and pick up my white. That's going to mix with the blue, make it a little lighter, and give us our tint. I have a little bit of paint still on my brush. I'm just going to keep painting with the blue, and I can add some white. It'll all blend in. Remember, the more white, the lighter it will be. Now that our painting's dry and we have a lot of tints of our colors showing, I'm giving you black. We're going to go back over those lines. Now you can give a practice run on your messy mat. If you use just the tip of your brush, you're going to get a thin line. If you press all your bristles down, you're going to get a thicker line. So depending on what kind of look you want, play around, see if you can get just the tip with just the tip of your bristles, or press it down and get it real thick. In little areas, I would be careful, because if you get it real thick, you're going to lose all your color. I'm slowly going over my line, picking up more paint if I notice that my brush is getting dry, watching where I'm going. Taking it right off the page. I want to go ahead and add any little things in the center. I can do dots. If I find that my brush is a little too big, I can use the end of my paintbrush and I stamp and lift to get some polka dots in the center. Maybe this is like a sunflower, like a cone flower with some texture there. If I wanted to make some lines in my flower, I could do that. Probably don't want to do too many, or else you'll see nothing but black. So know when to say, I have enough lines or decoration and texture in my flower. I want to show you a couple other things that you can do with your flowers. If you had, move that to the side, if you had your flower like this, you could add smaller petals in there and go around. You could add wavy lines. You could have one line down the middle, or you could divide it in a couple. So you decide, what do you think is going to look great with your flower? So here we have our Georgia O'Keeffe up close flower, and we learned how to make tints.